right, guys, welcome to the Authentic Podcast, episode 2. And I am extremely thrilled to have Dusty Sullivan, who will be on the show with us today. And Dusty and I, we go way back, and we've had a lot of awesome experiences together, driving through places like Las Cruces and El Paso, looking at the real estate, and he has a plethora of knowledge when it comes to business and when it comes to real estate. He's done it, he's been there, he's had those experiences. So get your notepads out and get ready. It's going to be an awesome show. Here we go. Good morning, El Paso. This is Joseph with the Authentic Podcast, and I am here with a very dear friend of mine. His name is Dusty Sullivan. And Dusty has a phenomenal background in business and has had quite a run in the real estate industry as well. So Dusty, welcome to the Authentic Podcast. Super happy to have you here.
Thank you, Joseph. I'm glad to be here. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
So Dusty, let's get into it. Tell me a little bit. How did you get into real estate? What's your story? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
The first thing that I did is the first piece of property that I ever bought in real estate was when I was in the military, and I got stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas, in El Paso, and there was a guy that was moving on to his next station, and I gave him $500 and took over payments on a house, and that was my first big real estate deal. And then when I got ready to move on, a guy gave me like $1,500 and took over payments. So I doubled my money. I got a 200% profit in a matter of 18 months or so, 16 months or so. And so I liked it. I realized that there was a potential for making money in real estate, being able to have a place that you could live, being able to have a place that you could improve if you wanted to, if the market allowed you to. And you want to be really careful about improvements, because in the past there are projects that I worked on that I improved too much because it was, for Dusty, not for profit. And then another memorable place was that I got married. We had 4 children. We had a house that we needed to buy, and one weekend we went and looked at 5 houses, my wife and I, and we had to leave town. And so we just said, we'll take that one. That's the one that's going to work for the children. We had a defined purpose of the reason that we were supposed to buy that house. That was in Houston. And we bought that house, and then a year later, some people came in and bought our company, and so we needed to move again. Okay. And
what was your what company?
We owned an orthopedic company, a company that makes hips and knees and distributes them, excuse me, and does other orthopedic products. So I was in the medical business, is basically what it was. And the people that we distributed for, Smith and Nephew Richards, came in and said, we like what you're doing here, and we're going to go ahead and buy you up.
Wow.
And it was good timing for me, and I've been doing that for about 15 years. So it was good timing. Our family we had 4 teenagers at the time, and we decided that my brother owns a yacht business in San Diego, and so he said, would you come help me? And so the day we got the check and we had to go on a away party for that business, we flew that night to San Diego and went in the yacht business the next day. So, and yachts was easy because I always loved boating and the ocean and those types of things.
So was that your first business venture, going into the orthopedic business, or how did you get started into this whole world of entrepreneurship, and what kind of motivated you to take that route in life?
It was I lived with some high performance parents. I had high performance parents that expected some things. Uh-huh. The first business that I ever went into is I got hurt in a horse accident and broke a couple ankles in my ribs. So I was laid up for the summer. I was going to school, and so I grabbed back then it was a long time ago. I grabbed the Sears and Roebuck catalog, and I just went through it and looked at it. Thought, man, look at all this stuff this company has. And it was Amazon back in my era, Sears and Roebuck, and I got involved with the chicken. I figured out how many eggs the chicken lays, and then I figured out how many I could sell eggs for, and then I decided I need 200 chickens as soon as I got well enough so I went out and built the chicken coop and had 200 chickens and delivered eggs for 85 cents a dozen and set up a route and, made about $35, $40 a week, which was a lot of money back then. And that was the first business that I ever went into. And my parents were very, very helpful in guiding me and helping me along the way. And so, and then the chicken coop caught fire one day and I was out of business. So that time to move on to different things. So I've been in the business world, encouraged by how I grew up time and time again. It worked out well. The business world worked out well for me.
It's quite a path to have taken, and I can imagine you've had a lot of pitfalls and a lot of successes with it. Dusty, when it comes to real estate and you started to taste a little bit of success, and I imagine you continued to grow. What were some of the challenges, some of the things that maybe you didn't know that you would be willing to share with us that if you knew then you would have maybe applied or done differently back then?
Well, the main thing is I would stick with what works for you. Sure. Sometimes along the line I do what most people do, and felt like I was bigger than I was, felt like I was knew more than I knew, and just got a overconfident, arrogant type of an attitude on certain things. We were in San Diego and we were buying vacation rental homes, and had a great setup, great people, very, very helpful. And it was going along really, really well. And it was going along so well that I thought we needed to go to Vegas and buy some properties. Because we were going to move for tax reasons and other reasons. And so we decided that we would move to Vegas and tried the Vegas market. And it wasn't as good as the San Diego market. And I should have just stuck doing what I was doing. But we made the decision to go, and we were at a point in our life where our kids were growing up and moving, and we thought we'd been up and down I had been up and down the West Coast and East Coast in these large yachts, thinking that my wife would join me someday, and she joined me one time and took a trip from San Diego to Puerto Vallarta, and decided that she didn't want to ever be on a boat again, and that was it. She just never wanted to be. So we wanted to get something that we could do together that was kind of a retirement thing and kind of not. So we thought we'd do real estate across the country. So we bought a big motor home and took off. And I left the base that we had that was so good and sold it, and then decided to take the money and invest it elsewhere in markets that we weren't too sure of or that we didn't study hard enough. We had overconfidence, and eventually it cost us some money. It was well worth it. We learned a lot and got us exposed to different industries. It was a very learning time for us, and we ended up buying RV parks across the country because we were driving an RV, and we thought, and then the 2008 dollar crunch came and the real estate crunch came, and we got caught in some of that because we weren't paying attention, because we were just having fun. It was fun to have fun in the real estate market, but fun wasn't the priority. Making money should be the priority in the real estate market. And we kind of lost our focus for a little while. We were on a second honeymoon. My wife and I, we were having fun together, and it was an expensive honeymoon, but we came out of it okay at the end. I would do it again. I would probably do that same thing again to learn the lessons that are to be learned from doing that.
Sure. So you would say that, like, would you agree that just going out there and doing it and being willing to be, being willing to make mistakes can actually benefit you in your business, and learn, as long as you're willing to learn throughout that and grow from it?
Well, I would say that I learned a whole lot more from my mistakes than I did from my successes.
Wow.
Okay, and the successes were sweet and wonderful, but the mistakes, you go through different levels of success, and sometimes it gets so big. It got so big for us that we decided that we're not for sure what we're doing, and then at the time we knew we were going to have to do some things differently, but those things did not appeal to us as much as relaxation and enjoying some of the rewards of the prosperity we had at the time.
Wow. That's quite a run.
Yeah, it was a run. It was a great run, and it still is. I mean, we're still, very, very, very happy. My wife and I are, I'm watching her do her run right now, and she's the admissions administrator for a private school in El Paso, and she just loves what she does, and it's just such a thrill for me to come home and see her so excited about this young man or this young woman or whatever, and then she's been doing that long enough that now we're going to performances of former students. We've spent Friday night at a high school going to a performance of a former student, and she reaches out. She has that spirit about her that people don't forget.
Yeah.
And they want to keep her around. Well, I guess we both do, because I think back into even in 6th grade, 7th grade, we have friends that come from there, and 6th grade was 60 some odd years ago, and we still have friends that are, and that's the important thing in life, I think. It's how you treat others, and are you able to have friendships that last. The money comes and goes. The real estate will always be here. I had a run where we got to sell yachts in San Diego. My brother owns a big company there, and he's invited us out to come out and work with him for a while. And that was one thing that helped my real estate business so much, was that to look at these people that were buying these big multi-million-dollar yachts. Where did their income come from? And most of them, consistently, it was real estate. Real estate. They may have been whatever, but the real estate is where they came. The biggest boat we ever sold was to the guy with the biggest amount of real estate. So there was a correlation there.
So let me ask you, from a business perspective, what is some of what are some principles that you would share with us that you find helped your business be more profitable? Some things that you would do. I mean, you were talking a little bit about, just how to treat people and maintaining relationships and making them long lasting. Can you talk a little bit more about that and what that looks like in business as well?
Well, I always think it's the people you surround yourself with. In the real estate business, who is the real estate broker? Who's the real estate agent? Who's behind them? Is there a company out there that is dead serious on the real estate business, that invests regularly in the real estate business? Are there people that's what they do for a living, that involved in the decision-making process? Sure. Where are you going to go for your financing? Do you have a relationship with your finance people? The thing that was really important to us when we were buying lots of units was a title person. who the title person was so important also, because we wanted to make sure that all the paperwork flowed correctly, but we also wanted to be able to call them and say, where are most of the houses being sold in wherever we were at the time, in Las Vegas or Texas or San Marcos or Austin, or we bought real estate in several different places. Alabama, we loved Alabama, but the team that you're working, that you have, there's no way we could do what we did without great people leading us along the way. And many of those are still friends today. Many of those are people that we can call and ask questions about. And I've watched those guys go on to tremendous prosperity from where they started, when we started doing vacation rentals. This couple, Joseph and Julia, went on to be their own website, they are unbelievable what has happened to them. And I called them the other day just to talk. They were taking their motor home. They were going on a trip, and their son was running the business back there. It's those type of rewards that we enjoyed the most. The people, and watching the success that others had.
Absolutely.
And real estate was a beautiful way to do it, because if the bank's going to give you the money to buy it, then they're backing you, saying, I think you made a good decision. If they don't give you the money, then maybe you need to do something a little different, or title says you can't do it, or whoever, or the real estate agent says don't do it. I've had real estate agents say, I don't think this is a property for you, and I would ask why, and they would explain, and they saved us a lot. It was, and that's what I enjoyed a lot about the business. Probably most the enjoyable part were the people we got to work with, and there are some great people in the real estate business.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
and dig hard, Well, here you have an agent, but what's a broker doing? And you have a house, and who built the house, and what are they doing in the community, and are they just one-time guys that built the house and they want to sell it, or they have hundreds of houses, or maybe apartments, or maybe it just goes on and on and on. And there's so many things. For us, we always felt like we could tell from the people that were in the business with us if we were going to do good or we weren't going to do well.
Yeah.
And some of the failures we had were people failures, not real estate failures.
Yeah.
As far as if I got to classify them. And like any business, you're going to have failures. Just just pick up and keep on going. Is, what we did.
Yeah. It's fantastic. Well, I greatly appreciate you, and I personally look up to you. I've learned a lot from you over the time that I've known you, and had the privilege of meeting you and your wife, and just absolutely phenomenal people in my life. And I just want to thank you for being on this show, and from the bottom of my heart, because it meant a lot to me personally, and I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to get a lot of value out of everything that you've had to share. So thank you very much, and I look forward to doing it again one day.
And I look forward to watching you climb up the ladder of success one step at a time, and enjoying each step. And thank you for coming in my life, Joseph. I appreciate you.
All right, guys, that's it for episode 2 of the Authentic Podcast with Dusty Sullivan. I hope you guys got as much out of it as I did. Dusty's a very dear friend of mine. He's got a lot of knowledge in the business world as well as in real estate. And wow, what a show. So guys, stay tuned for next week, because I'm going to have a very good friend of mine, Dahlia Flint, on the show, and she has something very good to share with you. She has an incredible story and very knowledgeable about credit repair. So guys, stay tuned. I look forward to sharing more with you. Take care.